Hello, my name is Robert Laws, and welcome to my gun bench. All right, for this week, it's completely hands off of the firearm, so I'm going to answer some questions in the text here. All right, he asks us to reflect, analyze when working on a trigger is necessary or should be performed, and when it should not be performed. You will discuss the problems that can occur when improper trigger work has been performed, and you will discuss the concept of improper trigger work and how it can be avoided. So here's my answer for those simple questions for part one. Trigger work should be performed when there is a problem with the spring, or if it's needed of an upgrade, or maybe one of the parts on it is kind of wonky, or maybe you're in the field and you're just trying to squeeze out your last couple rounds in a contest. But basically, just go buy another part, okay? Um, because you could have something called a runaway gun. It's more common in machine guns, but it can happen in rifles or carbines. It has happened to me, okay? And with a drop-in trigger, it can happen with that as well, all right? What's also known as a hair trigger. It'd be so light that it just keeps going until I run out of ammunition, okay? So basically, just buy another spring or another component because there's really no need in the AR platform to do this, okay? Part two. Following the guidance, you perform a detailed inspection of your AR and articulate what you're looking for. All right, what I look for is worn springs or pins, different pins or whatever component may be worn. Okay, like a takedown pin or a firing pin. Measure the lengths of springs and make sure they're not too long or too short because that can add to a malfunction on the firearm as well. Okay. Let's see here. Uneven wear on a spring. Maybe one side is kind of flat and the other side is round, like it's supposed to be. That can be a problem. So you may want to replace that spring. Okay. Something else I look for is torque specs. A lot of people just kind of skip over and say, "Oh, if it's good and tight, the German specs, good and tight, good and taut, good and tight." Okay, haha. Anyways, just make sure the right torque specs because manufacturers have torque specs for a reason. Stick to those. Don't vary. Yeah, 1 or 2 pounds over, maybe, but I wouldn't do that. I would go exactly what the manufacturer said to do. Okay. All right. Part three. Check safety systems and disconnector operation on your firearm. Okay. Articulate where you're looking for. Okay. Well, when I check these things, I check for worn disconnectors. Okay. I check for worn springs, broken items. Maybe there's like a crack in the disconnector, or maybe it's bent in one direction because maybe I don't know the bolt came down kind of funny and just didn't like how it sat, or maybe you dropped it and didn't realize you bent something. It could happen. Okay. All right. And also make sure 100% that the fire control group, this FCG, works 100% safely because a unsafe firearm is a bad firearm. Make sure your firearm is safe at all times. Okay, part four. All right, articulate what you believe will be the easiest and most difficult parts of making repairs on your AR platform. The easiest thing to me would be a trigger or maybe a muzzle brake or muzzle device or a buffer spring, something like that. You know, would be pretty simple usually. Okay. Um, the hardest thing for me is the ejector. I don't know because you have to have it lined up just right. If you're off by a little bit, it may not seat. The plunger may not seat all the way. You can't get your pin in the what's it called? The roll pin in all the way. I had one time where I thought I had it seated, and boy, did I not! That thing shot out like a cork. Okay, it just didn't seat because the roll pin actually broke, and um, it come out the other side or whatever. I had another one where I thought that I had seated it all the way, and I lifted up my little tool to put it in, and it had bent or it flared out. I've had that happen. That's because they're so teeny tiny and those roll pins are so cheap. So take extra special care and extra special time with that. Yes, the tools are amazing, they work great, but sometimes it's just always how you finesse things. It's kind of like when you play pool. You put a little English on the shot. So you make sure that you do things with some finesse and some put that English on that shot, like the little hammer, okay? You don't just fram it. You little tap, 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 tap. And use the right kind of hammer. Use the right side, okay? You know, I've been guilty in the past, before I started here at SDI, of just framming it. You don't need to do that. Sometimes it doesn't move for a reason. You need to figure out and look at it, take a step back. If it's the next day when you come back, okay, it's the next day. Take extra special care in what you're doing. Make sure that that firearm is safe. Make sure you don't mess anything up or damage any components. Because every component on that firearm is there for a reason. So do not remove components. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to see you in next week's video. Thank you.